Alrighty, CCNT ICNT1 Part 4. Let's see what happened to that router that we turned CDP on, or off on. I'll go back to my router, or my switch. And we're going to type in enable for privilege mode. And let's show CDP neighbors. And notice what happened. My router 3 has disappeared. Okay, router 1, router 1 is still present. But the second router, which we label as router 3, has disappeared because we turned off CDP. So again, those are basic commands that for our CCNT level candidate, very, very important. Alright, so let's play with our banners a bit. So I'm going to go ahead over on router 1 here. And we're going to go ahead and get into global configuration mode. And we're going to type banner question mark. And notice there's a login banner and a message of the day banner. We're going to go ahead and set both of these and then see where they're displayed. So I'm going to go ahead and type banner MOTD. And notice it tells me that the next character is the delimiting character. So whatever character I use here, when it sees that character alone again, it will know to end. Now I know that sounds a little confusing. Let me show you. Pick a character, any character. How about a $? Enter. I can say something like this. This is the message of the day. Test 1, 2, 3. And when I put in $, because I said that's the symbol I want to use, and enter, it knows in fact to stop the banner. It's the endpoint. That's the delimiting character that says, alright, we're done, kick out. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and exit and enter, and notice there it is, our banner of the message of the day. I'm going to type user 1, user 1. Let's go back in. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take a look at the other banner, which is called a login banner. Do the same thing. This is my login banner. Woo. Test 1, 2, 3. And we'll use that $ again to end it. We're going to exit out. Okay. And notice here, this is the message of the day came first. And then this is my login banner came afterwards. Okay, so that's our banners. Let's go into our interfaces for a minute. Really quickly on this one. This is not a big deal. I mean, I guess it is a big deal, but very easy to set up. I gotta get my commands down here this morning. Configure terminal, interface fast Ethernet 0/1, for example. We have options to set different things, such as speed. You can see here it does a 10, 100, or auto, so we can set that information. We can also set the duplex. Half, which is one way. Full, same time, back and forth. Or auto, let it decide. Very basic commands there. Going to go ahead and clear those out. Let's go ahead and set a telnet session up. So my PC at PC0 can telnet into the router. Now we know telnet is very dangerous because it's unencrypted. However, especially for the exam, you need to make sure you understand how to do it. And you still see telnet all over the place. I prefer secure shell, SSH, which is like telnet but secure. But let's take a look at how to set up the VTYs first. So we're going to go ahead and do a line VTY, which stands for virtual teletype. I want to allow 0 through 4. That allows me 5 different connections coming in. On older routers, that was the case, 0 through 4. Put the question mark here, we can see we can do 1 through 15 now. So I'm going to go ahead and just do 0, 4, which allows 5. I'm going to set a password for it, of course. Let's make our password telnet, something ridiculous, just to make it easier for us to remember. and then we need to say, I want to use a login. Now, if I say login local, it will require a username and password. If you remember in the previous videos, we set username and passwords. So basically, you have to decide on each area, whether it's consoles or virtual teletypes, if you want to use just a straight password or a login username and password. So for now, we're going to try this. Hit enter. And now let's go ahead and go to our client and see if this works. We're going to go to client 0. And we're going to telnet to 192.168.1.1. Look, there's our message of the day, and there's our login banner. And the password. Well, we made our password telnet. So it worked. Now watch what happens here. When I try to go to privilege mode, it says no password set. So what that tells us is on a telnet session, if you want to be able to go to privilege mode, you must set the password first on the router. So let's do this. Let's exit out. Go back into a router and fix that. We'll enable a secret. We'll call it Cisco. Not the best password. Now when we come back to the client and we telnet into it, 192.168.1.1. Okay, we still use our standard password, but now we have the ability to get into privilege mode, and there we are. And from there, we can go into a global configuration mode. We can go into interfaces, and we're fine. Okay, so that's just a quick. Get the stuff going here. That's just a quick introduction to Telnet. Now let's take a look at how to do SSH. Very, very similar. We're going to come into the device, and we're going to go into line VTY04 again. But this time what we need to do is we need to set the transport. I'm going to say transport input. And we have a choice to say, I want nothing. I want SSH or Telnet. I want both of them. And right here, notice it says all, but another way you might see it is SSH and Telnet, like that. So let's go ahead and say I want to use SSH. Now there's a couple of rules here. One of which is you cannot use just a straight password. You have to use a username and password. So we need to change our login type to login local. Now, what we also have to do is we have to make sure that our domain name is changed or set, and our router is not just router. It doesn't like when you use router as the name. In real world, you shouldn't have your router name router anyway. That's horrendous. So we're going to come in and let's make some changes. We're going to change your host name. And we'll call it, oh, I don't know, New York router. I don't know if that's any better, but it's changed. And notice that changed. And then we need to change our domain name. And I think it is, yeah, there it is, IP domain name, that's right. And we can call it something like pizza.com. So now we've changed both our router name and the domain name. So now what we're going to do is we need to set the cryptography on it. So we're going to go over here and type crypto. Well, I need to make a key that's going to encrypt and decrypt. I need to generate that key. And we're going to use of type RSA. Hit enter. And it tells me, okay, great. We can do as low as 360 all the way up to 2048. What do you want to use? Well, let's go ahead and do 1024. That's a pretty good standard. Hit enter. And notice it's generating the keys. Now we should be ready to SSH into this. The difference is SSH is encrypted. Now, there's a lot of settings we didn't set on here. We can get into the details of setting different version numbers. We can go ahead and if this was a full-blown iOS, we could change the different kind of crypto we want to use. But for right now, I want to make sure that you have the basics to get into it. So let's test it out. I'll go back to my host. But this time, rather than just typing in Telnet, the IP address, we have to type in SSH. I thought that was going to work. SSH minus L for the username, user1, and the IP address. And notice here, it says, okay, what's the password for user1? We type in user1, and now we're in there. It's like Telnet, but it's secure. All right, let's see how we're doing on time. This is a great place to stop. I want to thank you for joining us, and we'll pick it up on the next video.